I think the saddest story in this website is that of the death of Edna Hemingway Sharpe, Jeanne Sharpe's wife and mother of Jean and Madeline. She had Madeline in 1910. I think they were married probably in 1909, the year that my father was born in Wheeling, and they lived in Cleveland at that time. Madeline and Jean were both born in Cleveland, and when my mother was born, Madeline was 3, and so my mother was born 100 years ago today, December 7th. Little did anybody know that years later, 28 years later, Japan would attack the United States on Pearl Harbor Day. And the sad story was Edna's death. Edna developed peritonitis, which is an infection from a tear in the outer lining sac that's around your intestines. And of course in 1913, it was before the development of antibiotics. And so within 3 weeks, Edna had a very difficult time, I'm sure. She was very sick and she died. Today, that illness can be treated with antibiotics and perhaps surgery, and I think very few people die from that. Fairly common for women to die after childbirth in those days. So it's a very sad thing. But as I've said earlier, we've now been able to meet Edna in this picture of her with Madeline as a little baby. I think this was probably at Christmas time in 1910. This looking at the child, looking at Madeline, she was born in June. She's about 6 months old. I suspect that this picture was taken at Christmas time. And you know what makes me wonder is this was 1910. I don't think they had a little Kodak Brownie camera. I don't know how this picture might have come to be. Perhaps they had a professional photographer come in and take this picture. I just don't know. And of course, we have a picture that we've not found yet, but I will find it, of grandfather, my mother's father, her husband, from 1892 when he was 17 years old, and he was on the ship coming from Glasgow, Scotland to New York City. And there's a picture of him as a young 17-year-old lad with an Asian young man and another European young man on the deck of the ship. They were on a ship that was a steamship, and they were in the lowest, absolute lowest of the low decks on this ship. And it was, that's what the record showed in the manifest of that passage from Glasgow, Scotland to New York City. That really might have been a pretty rough, nasty ride in the bottom of the ship. Anyway, just some thoughts. Thought I'd share them with you.